Hey guys, welcome to The Disheveled Gentleman. Today I have a knife I am really excited to show you guys and get kind of a look at. These are fairly new, so I don't think there's a lot of reviews on them yet, but I think that it's interesting enough and unique enough that I figured let's try a video. Let's start this out. Alright, so what I have for you today is the Kizer Butcher. It is from Macho Blades. It is a unique little cutter. It does come with a Kydex sheath. It does have the top insert there. It does have a different clip on it. I put the multi-clip on this one because I actually I feel it retains in the pocket better this way, as well as the one that came on it was a little loose. So I do have it modified on that end a little bit. So just so you guys are aware, this is not how it comes. It will come with just another Kydex loop sheath, and it will be the horizontal carry. So with that being said, let's get into the blade a little bit. So first thing I noticed with this is it is actually pretty darn solid, guys. I mean, it has the full tang, everything, the micarta handles. This is, I mean, it's a pretty solid little piece. I'm not going to lie. So, we can go through a couple of things. I'll tell you what I do like, what I don't like, and kind of what you can expect from this little thing. First off is this the most utility cleaver out there? No, it's not going to be. I mean, does it have zero use? No, it has tons of use. And a lot of ability, and there's a lot of great things about it, and we'll go over those. But I also want to get out there right away that some of this is a little bit of an artistic knife. It is something that's supposed to look different, draw the eye, but it will be limited in its abilities as far as compared to other cleavers and things. So let's look at this a little bit more, and we can talk about it. So first off is we are a little bit over 2 inches on the actual cutting edge. Each one of these squares is 1 inch. So you're not quite 2.5, but almost 2.5 on the actual cutting edge. When you actually talk about the full blade, it's a little, from the tip here over, it's about 3 inches, a little less, 2.75 is I guess is what I'd say, 2.6, somewhere along those lines. And it is fairly thick. I do not have my calipers in here at the moment. My apologies, guys. I will try and get those and show this up a little bit later. The micarta on it is actually pretty darn thick. Let me see if I can get that angled for you guys to show you how thick this really is. It's for a $55 little knife, I was fairly impressed. It's some serious micarta. It's not as polished and shined up and slick as some of the micarta that some individuals have seen. Namely, the one I'm thinking of right now is the Civivi Elementum that has the micarta. Those micarta scales feel like absolute sanded down, slick G10, which isn't necessarily bad. It's just not what I was expecting from a micarta grip, which I usually like because it is quite a bit grippier and you're not going to slip and if it gets wet and all those things. Now, I have had micarta grips before that are a bit more grippy than this one. You know, they're a little bit more speckled. They don't really have the same finish on them. I guess they're just a bit more rugged. Burlap micarta is the one that I've had a lot of grip with, but it also showed some pock marking. It was more prone to cracking or tearing up your pocket. So I think this has actually done a very good job of kind of finding that middle ground where it still has that grip and that texture. I mean, but it's not so slick and just for the micarta look. There is some incredible utility there. The other thing I do want to mention with this is it is 154 cm steel. Let me see if I can get it here for you, right there. 154 cm, which is actually, in my opinion, a great steel. I have several high-end and mid-level knives that actually use that steel. It's incredible. It's actually one of my all-time favorite steels. It kind of does go away from the Kizer a little bit because the Kizer does end actually, they've used a lot of S35V in most of their knife offerings up till this point, and so this is a little bit different, where they're actually kind of going into that. I know it's not the first one they've ever done, but they are trying to get a solid knife with good products more in that budget realm. So I thought that this was a really interesting thing to see. For $55, you're getting a 154 cm blade. Right here you can see the name. It's the Butcher by Macho Blade. Go ahead and give him a follow on Instagram, on Facebook and things. He's a really nice guy. And this is, I believe, his first production piece. I could be wrong with that, but I believe this is his first one. And it's pretty incredible, full disclosure. So, okay, let's get into some of the good and some of the bad. Number one is, this is a little cleaver, and it has a decent amount of cutting edge and everything, but it's interesting to see that you have this portion of the blade here that's sharp, but this whole part right here obviously is dull, which is good in many instances, but you're kind of sacrificing a good portion of this that's not really, I guess, for lack of better phrasing, usable, in the sense that, you've kind of got this big belly up here, and the wedge on it is pretty high. It gets from a very, very, very narrow tip here, and it goes up to a decent size here. I think it's really, really nice, but I think that it's not your standard type of cleaver. So I'll leave that up to you guys what your specifics are, but I will say that this thing can cut. It is sharp. This comes out of the box very, very sharp. And so it will do the cutting tasks that, I'm sure that you have for it, that you need. It's great. It will do the job with that. But, some of this is design over, utility, I guess is the best way to put it. The other thing I like and dislike about this is the finger grooves here, where you can see. One is, I've got really big hands, so you can kind of tell that I can actually get a pretty good grip with these here. I mean, people with smaller fingers might feel a little bit more room, but I've got really, really big hands, so I like having that grip. It doesn't feel like it's going to move around a lot, and you're actually going to have a lot of good purchase with this. I would have liked to see maybe some jimping or stuff up here for that thumb, because as this does get wet, this is a very polished kind of feel to the blade. It will slick a little bit, but I mean, it's nothing that's going to harm it. But a little jimping would have been nice up there. But once again, you can't complain. This is a $55 blade. This is great. One of the things I really wish that we would have seen is, I would have liked to see these finger grooves kind of continue around. Once again, I have giant hands, but you can tell here, as I'm doing this, my finger here, my ring finger, will actually hang a bit lower, even if I, kind of back off on my grip a little bit, to the point in time that I'm not going to get a perfectly even cut with this. I'll have to kind of have it up a little bit. Why? Because my finger's in the way there. So if you were cutting tomatoes, garlic, all these different things that I do when I'm camping, you're going to have to kind of either back off and have just your two fingers there, or you're going to have something raised in order to do it, or you're going to have to kind of just not use this portion here, that's not going to sit flush. So, I would have really liked to have seen that kind of continue on up here with those finger grooves, just for the utility sake. Now, if you're not going to be cutting directly on a surface or something, yeah, sure. It's not a big deal. You can add a little lanyard there, extend your grip, because I can get about 3 of my giant fingers on, and my 4th one right here will just rub up against that very end there. So, very good little blade, but it does have its shortcoming in that sense. And a lot of the things I've seen on Instagram and Facebook and stuff about this blade is the fact that it's being used for food preparation, stuff like that. So if that's something that is going to be a deal breaker for you, just understand it. Once again, not everyone's going to have giant mitts like I do, but it's a really interesting thing. It does have a little bit of a belly to it. It's kind of hard to see with that because it's not directly horizontal on the blade. So yeah, you do have a little bit of room to work with that, and you can rock with it and chop and do stuff. But if you've got big fingers like me, that might be a problem for you. So with that being said too, I think these artistic holes up here, I don't necessarily dislike them, but I don't think they really add anything to me. For me, maybe other individuals will like them, find them more appealing. I just almost would have preferred the entire blade just be flush, but I understand that some of this is going for a specific look and a specific desire for that type of crowd. So, the other thing I want to say is this is all really well done, but it's going to really take up a lot of pocket space, guys. If you plan on carrying this in a pocket or somewhere, it's going to be really, it's going to take up most of your real estate. On the belt loop that it comes with the loop grip, I found that it had a little bit of wobble. I think it was meant to maybe hold for a bigger belt than I was using. I have a thinner belt, and maybe that's why there was some of the wobble. But even the gap between it was a little bit bigger than I would have preferred, so there was just too much wiggle with this. And if that's a big deal for you, you guys can go buy other clips. You can get different things for really inexpensive, and that'll take care of that issue right away. So, not a big deal. It just depends on how you want to carry what you're looking for. So keep that in mind, that this is going to take up some real estate here. So I'll put it right here. You're sitting here looking at, 6 inches, a little bit more than 6 inches with the sheath on. So, not quite 6.5. But I mean, that's not a huge blade. But when you also look at this and you're sitting here saying, okay, well, this is 3.5 inches tall at this point with the sheath, that's a huge amount of pocket space. But with that being said as well, it just depends on what you guys are looking for. If you're looking for something fun that's going to draw the eye, that you can use with cooking, doing other things, sure, that's fantastic. Do it, use it, get it, love it, doesn't matter. But if you're someone who's, I'm going to be carrying a folder as well, maybe you are not going to be doing that horizontal carry as much, because you don't like printing in your clothing, you don't like having that look. Okay, look for some of the other options and stuff. I would say that this is too big for a neck carry, neck knife carry. Now, obviously, there are individuals who I'm sure will use that for that, and that's great. That's fantastic. But I would say this is a little bit too big, as well as the fact that while this Kydex is great, I don't know if I would trust it jangling around my neck all day, even if you just bump it into something. I mean, it's not going to absolutely pop out. I had to give it a little bit of force there, but you understand the concept there, that this is not necessarily held in place by the strongest of tensions. So, but yeah. Overall, what are my impressions? What are my thoughts? I will update you on this as I want to, as I continue to use it. But first thing I will say, for a $55 cleaver, it's fantastic. Absolutely wonderful. Great purchase. I highly recommend grabbing one, especially when you're thinking and looking at this as a 154 cm blade. I mean, you're not going to find many other fixed blades in that steel at this price. It's fantastic. It's great. Do I think it has its limitations and its very specific niche market? Yes, I also do. Because I think someone who's going to be, using their fixed blades for some serious bushcraft or some utility functions with camping or on the ranch or things, they're going to go with something a bit different than this. This is not going to have that same type of utility. This is going to be more to draw the eye, interesting stuff, to be a conversation piece, as well as the fact that I think a huge portion of its true functionality will be in the cooking realm. I think a lot of people are going to throw these in their camping bags or take it on a hike and use it to for some of the smaller things within a cooking atmosphere. If you're out there camping stuff, I think that's a fantastic use for this. I do think its everyday carry limitations are there, but with that being said, guys, this is a great blade for $55. Absolutely fantastic. I would highly recommend picking one up if it catches your eye, if it's interesting. if you're looking for something that's going to be total utility, that is going to have absolutely everything you're looking for, you know, as a bushcraft knife and stuff, you might want to look elsewhere. So with that in mind, yeah, keep it in the back of your head if you're really interested. If it's one of those blades that you're like, you know, I can't justify it, but you keep coming back to, you like the look, it's great. It's great to have. It's great to play with, to you know, do a little bit with that. But you know, I'll just leave that decision up to you. Thanks for watching this video, guys. Let me know in the comments if you have anything that you want to see more specifically. I'm sorry I don't have my calipers and scale out. I will be able to get you a little bit better measurements in the future for that. But yeah, great little blade. Have fun. I will talk to you guys later.